Hey guys, I'm out here in my dad's garden in the backyard, and I figured this would be a good spot to sit here and do a video. I also want to give a quick update on kind of like the craziness going on with my parents. They have decided to get back together and work things out and at least give it another good solid try. They have been together for 30 years, which was a whole nother whiplash in and of itself for me, but it's been a little while now, so I'm kind of here to relax and get used to this and to relax and to get away from Houston. Work in Houston has been terrible, and I've been trying to find a new place to work in Houston, and that has been a very serious struggle as well. Like, it's just, everything has been so stressful. There is a hurricane coming towards the Gulf, so I will actually be here for 2 weeks instead of 1 week, because I am not about to drive the interstate on I-10 all the way across the Gulf Coast right after a hurricane, because it's just too much drama. Too much drama. Too many down power lines, debris on the road. You know, you might stop for gas somewhere where you know there's a gas station, and that gas station might be gone because this is supposed to be a category 3, and you never know what's going to happen, especially in Louisiana and the swamplands. So there might not be a place to stop for gas for a very long stretch of road. And I don't want to get caught up in that drama. So I'm just going to stay here an extra week and work another weekend out here and hang out with my folks a little bit longer, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because they're in a honeymoon phase. So it's super chill here right now. Yes. So anyway, to the purpose of the video and the story time. Sleep paralysis spirits and hags and whatever you might call them. There are lots of names for them throughout history, but I'm not about to throw all of the names on you. I tend to call them hags. So we'll go with that. Just know that it's a sleep paralysis spirit. I had a friend who had this problem, and she kept telling me about it, but it sounded very melodramatic the way that she described it. And she's one of those people that's like, everything's a demon and all this stuff. And so I kind of just dismissed it. Also, she put some toxins into her body for a number of years, and I think that really messed up her head. And so I was thinking that it was purely psychological, because even though I'm a very spiritual person and I'm very rooted in the supernatural, I still tend to find the logical reasons for things, or the more, I shouldn't say logical, because supernatural and spirituality is still logical in a way. It's just not as concrete, right? So like, I figured it was more of like a concrete material reason, i.e. the way her brain works. And I think that is still true. She kept saying that like it's a family thing, it runs in the family and all this stuff, which those kinds of mental problems do run in the family. Like sleep paralysis, a lot of times if you have sleep paralysis very badly, someone in your family also has sleep paralysis very badly, which is what leads people to believe that they have a family curse. So now she's on this family curse stuff, right? And so, like I said, I was a little bit dismissive, but I was like still giving her advice on things to do, you know, like if you're really that worried about it. And I know that she's Christian. She wasn't going to church at the time, so she wasn't insufferable yet, but we'll get to that part. So I was giving her, you know, like advice and like cleansing sprays and like incenses and things that she could burn in her house to make her feel more comfortable. Well, she ended up locking herself out of her house one time, late at night. We're coming home from work at 2, 3 a.m. So I had to turn around and get her because her key broke off in the door because her landlord was a piece of shit who gave her a shitty key. So she ended up spending the night with me, which is okay. Like, it's chill, it's whatever. So she slept close to my bookshelves. The next morning, we left the house to go do and run some errands and swing her by her place to talk to her landlord to get a new key and to run some errands. And she finally tells me, oh yeah, the sleep paralysis thing came to me last night and it was really weird. And I was like, yeah? And she was like, yeah, your bookshelf turned and looked at me and turned into the demon. And I was like, so now it happened in my dwelling place, my sanctuary. Now I feel a little bit more obligated to do something about it. So we go and we get some herbs, and I make her an herbal sachet, and I anoint it, and I have her pray on it, in front of a candle with everything, like the whole thing, the whole shebang. I definitely put a lot of angelica root in it. Angelica root, hyssop, some other things. Chamomile is always a good thing to put in an herbal sachet that will be under the pillow, because chamomile helps with sleep and relaxation, even though it's not there for the sleep paralysis spirit. It's there to promote sleep. So I don't just put exorcism herbs into a sachet. I will put chamomile in there as well. And a little bit of catnip works too. Catnip is in the mint family, and that also helps with relaxation. Anyway, just in case you wanted to make an herbal sachet like this, so you know. So I give it to her and she leaves, and then I go and I hang out with my friends, and then that night I come home, I'm reading a book in my bed, and I'm like, let me burn some frankincense. So I burned some frankincense. Not 2 minutes after the smoke starts to waft past me and around my room, and Brad is sleeping right next to me, close to that bookshelf. Brad jumps up like something touched him or pinched him or grabbed him, and he jumps up and he stares at the bookshelf. And so I see this happen, and I look at the bookshelf. There's nothing out of place about the bookshelf. I don't even feel anything. I'm not picking up on anything visually, auditory, or, I'm not picking up on anything energetic either about this bookshelf. But Brad is looking at it like he's terrified. And so that was a first. Having something in my house and not being able to sense it myself was very strange. And so I was like, oh, fuck. And I looked at it and I was like, you're still fucking here? And I yelled at it a little bit, and then, because I had just turned my electric burner on, so if I were to unplug it, it would have just immediately gone cold again. So I was like, when I finish this chapter of my book, you're fucking out of here, bitch. Like, you fucking hag. And so I finished the chapter of my book, and Brad, my good little spiritual protector, I've always told people, dogs are your physical protectors and cats are your spiritual protectors. So Brad was keeping an eye on this thing. And whenever I finished the chapter of my book, he's looking in the top left corner of the kitchen. So I unplug my electric burner, and it's nice and hot. It'll stay nice and hot for at least half an hour. So I get to work wafting the frankincense around. I use frankincense because of my practices are very Western practices, so I use more Western herbs and resins for that. And frankincense has been used as a temple incense for thousands of years. So I really like the potency of frankincense whenever I do exorcisms, more so than sage, because as a white American woman, I just don't have that much cultural resonance with the use of sage, right? I don't have that ancestry, and I don't have that cultural upbringing either. So anyway, that's why I use frankincense, and that's why I say frankincense instead of sage. Yes, I know sage exists. I don't use it, simply because it's also almost been plucked to extinction. So I'm not going to be part of that either. Anyway, back to the thing. So I live in a small studio, so it didn't take long for me to waft the frankincense everywhere around, and I'm cussing this thing out. The best emotion to bring forth when you are getting rid of something from your house that shouldn't be there is disdain and disgust, and telling it to get the fuck out, and saying, how dare you come into my fucking house? How dare you come into my house and attack a friend of mine under my fucking roof? Like, really amp yourself up. Like, make yourself seem like this big scary ass motherfucker. Because if there's anything I have learned in dealing with other entities, it's you make yourself look bigger, right? It's kind of like whenever cats fluff up and they're like, and they're all fluffy, they're making themselves look bigger than what they are. So that's what you're doing whenever you're evicting an entity or expelling or exorcising or whatever you want to call it, an entity from somewhere. You're going to puff yourself up and make yourself look bigger, aren't you? Yes, because you're chasing away a potential predator. This thing was predating on my friend and her dreams, right? So I got rid of it. I let her know what happened, and she felt really, really bad about it. And so whenever she moved into her new place away from that horrible landlady and into a new spot. I got her in with my landlady, and so she's got a nice little spot, and so I cleansed it, and she was like, that's it? That's also what she said with the herbal sachet. She was like, that's it? I was like, yeah, keep it under your pillow. And then whenever I cleansed her house, she was like, that's it? And I was like, yeah, that's it. She goes like, and like, she was expecting something more theatrical. And it's like, I don't know what you wanted me to do, girl. Like, did you want me to chop a chicken's head off and pour blood all over the place and all over you? Like, I'm sorry, magic isn't always that theatrical. And because it wasn't theatrical enough, this started out very slowly, and I could already tell what was going to happen before it actually happened. But she was like, you know, girl, I'm just feeling like, you know, maybe I need a fresh sachet or something. And I was like, why is that? And she's like, I just don't feel like this is going to work forever. Like, isn't this going to wear off? And I was like, as long as you believe it's going to wear off, then yeah, I guess it will wear off. I was like, you know what I put in there. I can tell you what I put in there, and you can make another one if you want to. But again, here's my thing. I'm putting a boundary down where I'm not going to do more than what I have to. Because if you think it's going to go out, I'm not going to make you a new sachet every fucking week. You know what I mean? I'm not going to spend my money and my time and my magical energy to make you a sachet because you feel like it's going to run out or something. And so I knew what was going to happen. I knew she was going to have this problem again. She was like, hey, you know, maybe you should come back over and cleanse my house again. I was like, are you hearing stuff? Are you seeing stuff? Is something going on? And she was like, a little bit. Yeah, like I just get this feeling that something's there. I was like, if you feel like the cleansing didn't work, if you feel like you need a routine cleansing in order for this thing to stay away from you, then you're going to need that. And if you don't get that, you're going to invite something in, whether you realize that that's what you're doing or not. I was like, if you feel like something is there all the time, you're basically inviting something to come in all the time, right? And so, yeah, I went in there, I did some more cleansings, and then she decided witchcraft was the problem. Started going to church again and acting holier than thou about everything. And now she's just insufferable. I can't be around her at all. And I'm like, wow, the next time a Christian-based mindset person comes to me for anything sleep paralysis or spirits or demons or whatever the fuck, I'm going to be like, go talk to your pastor. Because there's nothing that I can do as a pagan that will make them feel like it's enough, because their mindset is very Christian-centric. Again, there's nothing I'm going to do that is going to be more potent than what they believe that their Christian infrastructure can provide. Just tell them to go back into their own system of belief and find a practitioner within their system of belief that can help them. These are also the kinds of people that unfortunately get scammed by people all the time because they need constant reassurance. They need constant theatrical reassurance. And if there's one thing that spiritual scammers are great at, it's making you feel like this thing is so expensive because it does all of this, and really blowing smoke up their ass. And maybe if I had been more theatrical and blown more smoke up her ass, this wouldn't be a problem right now, but I'm not a bullshitter. I've never been that good at bullshitting unless I'm writing a paper at 2 a.m. that's due the next morning at 7 a.m. I cannot bullshit otherwise. So that's what I learned from that. I hope that you guys got a lot out of this story and that you enjoyed it for the story, but that maybe you learned a little bit of something about how to make an herbal sachet for healthy sleeping and how to exercise spirits as well throughout this story, and how to deal with people with a Christian mindset who come to a witch for help. I don't fuck with them anymore. That's been my lesson. I will not fuck with Christians anymore. They can go talk to their pastor about that shit and let the pastor look at them like they're crazy, or do an exorcism if the pastor wants to. Let them stay within their own construct if they are that close-minded that they can't believe in witchcraft. So anyway, if you like this video, please hit like. If you would like to see more storytime videos, definitely hit like so that I know that you like this video. Subscribe to my channel for tarot unboxings, book reviews, and more videos like this maybe. And until next time, happy dabbling and bye-bye.